I'm in pursuit of creating change makers through theatre and arts, especially in the marginalized communities of India and everywhere else.
Hello and welcome to In Pursuit of. I hope you've been watching all our episodes. And today's guest is Vandana Asha, founder of Kaarwaan. Welcome, Vandana.
Thank you.
So nice to have you here.
Thank you.
So, Vandana, tell me, how do you pursue building change makers using the theatre and arts?
Kaarwaan. It's working on creating intergenerational change makers. So it can be either women or it can be very chotu bachas. It can be youth. And the idea is to use theatre and arts, especially applied theatre and theatre of the oppressed, to do that inner work, to build resilience, to build empowerment so that they can solve their own problems.
Lovely. So I know you work with the theatre of the oppressed. So how do you actually use that for this, process of inner work and build change makers?
So theatre of the oppressed, as the name suggests, it's of the oppressed, not for the oppressed.
Right.
So you give this tool to the people and you ask them to fight the oppression through this. The dialogue is the core of theatre of the oppressed. Like, you really need to talk about the oppression that's happening. You need to build awareness, and then from awareness, you need to go to the advocacy. So people need awareness, and then they need to advocate for their own rights, for their own well-being. So that's the idea of theatre of the oppressed. And you give this tool, so you create spaces, you create dialogical, safe, collaborative spaces with the communities so that we talk about gender, education, mental well-being, whatever. So there are multiple techniques like image theatre, forum theatre, and it all helps you go into the body, use this as a tool to really talk about things that you are dealing with.
So if a layperson wanted to know what theatre of the oppressed really means, and what would you tell them, briefly?
Theatre of the oppressed, as the name suggests, it's theatre where communities come together to have dialogue about something that is bothering them.
Okay, and give me an example of that issue and how they would have a dialogue about it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
How it would pan out for them.
So, for example, somebody from my team has been a survivor of domestic violence. So she started coming to the space, and it was the learning center library, and she just started working on herself and she started talking about it. That was the self part, like really knowing what is happening with you, why is it happening with you. Then the surrounding part comes, where the community comes. So she realized that, oh, it's a global issue and there are people, there are survivors, other survivors. And then there was a collaborative community feeling. People started talking about it, coming together through theatre, through image, through arts. And then we went to the society part, where she really figured out, oh, this is wrong. This shouldn't happen with me. And she started advocating for herself. And then she got divorced. Now she's a full-time core team member in Kaarwaan, and she doesn't have a degree, but she's still there.
And I'm just thinking, it must be so liberating to actually say those dialogues and to do theatre around it and create a situation and actually enact it.
Yeah.
Must be cathartic.
Only theatre and literature and music, only a lot of body work can make you really feel what's trapped inside it, like the traumas in your body. There's a book called The Body Keeps the Score. So it keeps everything in itself. So to really go inside and figure it out, figure your chaos, and know how political it is.
So Vandana, tell me, you have one of your projects, Prangan. What kind of impact has it had on children actually being able to connect to books?
We call it PLLC. It's Prangan Library and Learning Center. So it just started as a need because people in Champawat wanted to learn English. So I was like, okay, let me do that through process drama. We'll use process drama to learn English. It's a second or third language for them. Adults started coming in, and the adults who came for those English courses are my team members now. They used to run mehfil and everything in the learning center. एंड देन देर आर छोटू बच्चास एंड दीज आर द किड्स जो अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते ट्यूशन्स या फिर कुछ और, तो वो अपने सरकारी स्कूल से वापस आते हैं एंड देन देर आर फ्री, उनके पास बहुत टाइम होता है तो वो बस आ जाते थे. तो वी वर लाइक अच्छा बच्चे आ रहे हैं तो क्या करें, कैसे इंगेज करें उनको सिर्फ इंग्लिश के अलावा. सो वी वन ऑफ माई टीम मेंबर्स वाज लाइक लेट्स गो विद चिल्ड्रन लिटरेचर. तो बहुत सारा चिल्ड्रन लिटरेचर भरते हैं, अच्छा थोड़ा आर्ट्स कराते हैं, थोड़ा डांस कराते हैं, थोड़ा पेंटिंग कराते हैं, थोड़ा कुछ और कराते हैं, एंड दैट्स हाउ इट स्टार्टेड. देन adolescents also started coming, and then that Prangan Library and Learning Center became the hub of like for the youth as well. So now we have adult literature as well. We have 2 libraries, learning centers. Women come sometimes. Like we have workshops for women, we have workshop for the youth. हम महफिल करते हैं जहाँ पे से वहाँ के लोकल युवा लोग इकट्ठे होते हैं, कविताएं पढ़ते हैं, कहानियाँ पढ़ते हैं, स्टैंड अप कॉमेडी करते हैं, किस्से, गप्पे, चाय, समोसे, ये होते हैं. That's how we attract the youth. Like that's what I'm saying when I say that we create spaces. Right. So these are the spaces where you really go into yourself, you find a community, and then you start talking about things that matter. Like नौकरी क्यों नहीं है हमारे पास, है ना, औरतें इतना काम क्यों करती हैं पहाड़ों में. So there were multiple issues that came up, and then I was like, okay, let's talk about it then. So Prangan Library and Learning Center is that, and it's libraries now because now we have something called pop-up library. तो अभी तो एक सेंटर हो गया कि एक सेंटर है, लाइब्रेरी है, यहाँ पे चिल्ड्रन लिटरेचर है, अडल्ट लिटरेचर है, क्यूरेटेड है. अब जो अंदर के गांव है पहाड़ों में, वहाँ पे कैसे जाएं. सो वी मेड पॉपअप लाइब्रेरीज. तो हफ्ते में एक दिन ऐसे पूरा बस्ता लेके मेरी टीम लोकल यूथ जाते हैं, ऐसे एक सरकारी स्कूल के प्रेमिस में किताबें लगाते हैं ऐसे, और छोटे बच्चे आते हैं और फिर वो कहानियाँ पढ़ते हैं, एक्टिविटी करते हैं, सेशंस करते हैं. कभी सेशन किसी चीज़ पे होता है, कभी सेशन किसी चीज़ पे होता है. एंड द इम्पैक्ट आई एम गोइंग टू टेल यू. एक छोटी सी 10 साल की बच्ची है. Do you know about the book Dark Horse?
I've heard of it.
She can narrate the story as it is because she has read Dark Horse.
Wow.
There were kids जो पढ़ ही नहीं पाते थे, अपना नाम हिंदी में भी नहीं पढ़ पाते थे, and now they're trying to learn English. तो किताबों से वो फाउंडेशनल लिटरेसी एंड न्यूमरेसी पे भी हम काम कर रहे हैं, बट इट्स ऑल्सो लाइक नाउ दे टॉक अबाउट इशूज. दीज किड्स आस्क क्वेश्चंस, दे आर क्यूरियस. So we work on like, we call them the 4 C's: creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, and compassion.
Very, very nice. So tell me, another of your projects is Rangshala, and I believe it's your biggest project.
Yeah.
And how does that work? I mean, give me a success story to explain the project to me.
I think ये हर जगह होता है सरकारी स्कूलों में कि जो people with disability वो हमेशा पीछे छूट जाते हैं. तो एक लड़की है सरकारी स्कूल में, उसका नाम है रानी. शी इज़ ब्लाइंड. उसको कोई भाव नहीं देता था उसको वो पढ़ने मतलब देख नहीं पाती है, तो बहुत सारी चीज़ें होती थी, उसके साथ बहुत सारा अब्यूज़ होता था. Last Sunday, we were doing a showcase in Champawat, and Rani came on stage. She spoke up. She has a laptop now. She wants to become an IAS officer. She's writing poems, and उसने हमें भेजा भी बहुत सारी कविताएं और कहानियां. And she's like, मैं बनना चाहती हूँ IAS officer.
But how did this happen?
What we do is we mobilize local youth, and then we train them to become educators, arts-based facilitators, and then we have a curriculum. It's a socio-emotional learning curriculum. It's especially for government schools and especially for villages and rural areas. And then self-surrounding society, it's the same thing, and working on the 4 C's: collaboration, creativity, critical thinking, and compassion, and communication. तो ये जो लोकल यूथ है जिन्हें हम मोबिलाइज करते हैं, हम इनको ट्रेन करते हैं, एंड देन दे गो टू देयर लोकल स्कूल्स एंड देन दे वर्क विद द किड्स. तो वो ऐसे हफ्ते में एक बार जाते हैं और सेशंस करके आते हैं 6 to 8 के बच्चों के साथ. एंड दैट्स हाउ वी फाउंड रानी. दैट्स हाउ वी हैव फाउंड अ लॉट ऑफ अदर किड्स जो कभी क्लास में बोलते नहीं थे, who have spoken up about body shaming, who have spoken about bullying. They've written pledges, they have made performances, they've talked about inequality, they've talked about power, intersectionality of identities, beautiful, like gender disparity, they've talked about everything. it's like the local youth is also being empowered. They have a job now. They are passionate about it. We work with them. They've found a community. Apart from me, everybody in my team is from Champawat.
Wow, really?
And barely anybody has like a degree. And we have a lot of women जो शादीशुदा थी, कभी पढ़ाई नहीं की, कॉलेज के बाद सीधा शादी हो गई, बच्चे हो गए. They wanted to do something for themselves.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And how long has this taken you? Like baseline to endline, what's the timeline look like?
It's one full academic year. So we did the baseline in the beginning of this academic year, which was like April, and then we finished our end line in Feb.
Okay. And in this 1 year timeline, how often do you engage with the children?
I think the youth, the educators and the facilitators, we call them Rangshala fellows. The fellows engaged. They had like a 12-session curriculum. And each session was like 3 hour, 2 to 3 hour long. So they used to go every 10 days to the kids. So it was like a stretched long-term intervention where we would continuously engage with them after every 10 days.
Most of your work is in person.
Yeah.
When COVID-19 happened, how did it impact your work and how did you work around it?
I think there were two things that we did during the pandemic. One was to establish the foundation of the organization. So we registered it during the pandemic. We made most of the policies, structure banaya, values decide kiye, vision mission ko thoda chart out kiya, theory of change ko chart out kiya with help of like a few mentors. The second very, very important thing that we did was a lot of healing inner works. There was a project called Dialogue with Your Core. We did a lot of sessions around that, like really knowing and being able to talk about your trauma. Again, a lot of body work. We collaborated with multiple organizations to work with their team on how to use theater of the oppressed or applied theater, or how to use experiential learning methodologies and pedagogies to work with your community.
Right.
So these were the things that we did during the pandemic. And then we created Unmuted.
So tell me more about it.
So you remember Boys Locker Room and
Of course.
the whole controversy. काफी हिला दिया था उसने मुझे अंदर से, और थोड़ा सा हमने स्कूलों में भी बात की कि ये सेक्स एड कैसा है, लाइक क्या हो रहा है with this whole education system and what are we doing wrong as a society. तो आई थिंक वो वहाँ से इट स्टार्टेड एंड देन हम सब ने रियलाइज़ किया कि हमारे साथ भी कितना हरासमेंट हुआ है ऑनलाइन स्पेसेस में, कैसे वो पर्सनल प्रोफेशनल की बाउंड्रीज बहुत ब्लर हो जाती हैं. एंड देन वी क्रिएटेड अ प्रोजेक्ट अराउंड दैट. सो इट यूज्ड फोरम थिएटर का मेथोडोलॉजी, जहाँ पे हमने एक वीडियो बनाई जहाँ पे एक इमेजिनरी वर्ल्ड क्रिएट किया. रूही ऑनलाइन काम कर रही है. द वर्ल्ड हैज शिफ्टेड ऑनलाइन बिकॉज ऑफ द पैंडेमिक. तो रूही का बॉस उसके साथ थोड़ा सा उसके बॉस के साथ उसका पर्सनल प्रोफेशनल ब्लर हो रहा है बिकॉज इट्स अ यंग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, स्मॉल टीम. तो रूही एक वीडियो रिलीज किया एंड देन वी चोज सम स्पेक्टेक्टर्स इन थिएटर ऑफ द ऑप्रेस्ड. यू कॉल देम स्पेक्टेक्टर्स. सो दे आर नॉट जस्ट spectators, they act.
Spectators.
Yeah. So we chose like a few people who work with women or they work around gender-based violence. And then we used to send them videos and a survey and they used to respond कि अब रूही को क्या करना चाहिए.
Right. Very nice.
उसके बाद we used to create another video based on their responses and the kind of questions they would raise. And it was interesting to see the conditioning of us, like
social conditioning.
सोशल कंडीशनिंग कितने पेट्रियार्कल है अंदर से कि वो रिस्पॉन्सेज जो हम रूही को करवाना चाहते हैं, लाइक रूही शुडंट रेज हर वॉइस, शी शुडंट प्ले विद हर हेयर, एंड यू नो इट वाज इंटरेस्टिंग टू सी दोज रिस्पॉन्सेज. सम पीपल सेड दैट शी शुड स्पीक आउट एंड देन वी क्रिएटेड लाइक 4-5 videos based on the responses in the time frame of like 15 days. And yeah, Unmuted was a cool project.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it was fun.
Netflix is doing the same with its interactive movies.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but
Well,
Vandana,
we were ahead of its time.
I was about to say, they clearly copied from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Vandana, thank you so much. It's a pleasure chatting with you and knowing more about Rang Kaarwaan. We will continue talking. Please stay with us, do subscribe to our channel, and I will continue my conversation with Vandana of Rang Kaarwaan.